Hi, this is Tom Kane, the voice of Jedi Master Yoda. And this is Inside the Force. Listen, you will. Foreseen it I have, yes.
It is a period of Star Wars mania. As new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome back, everyone, to Inside the Force. I'm David Cottingham here, of course, with me, Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
Great episode for you coming up this week. Got a lot to talk about. We got some big news regarding the expanding universe.
Yes.
We are closing out episode 3 month with a pretty big, well-known character, which will propel us into finally relieving these movies that we've been talking about.
Oh, yeah.
We got a whole new theme we'll be talking about doing the next few months, so we'll maybe talk about that a little bit. Very exciting episode. You're going to hear all of our opinions about this whole news about the canonology and the expanding universe and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's too much more news beyond that, but
there's a little bit with the movies that nothing like sightings, whatever. I mean, I'll mention some stuff.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yes,
so. But first, before we do that, we of course are going to profile something from the canon. So first off, we should talk about that.
Okay, just preview.
Let's just talk about that.
Okay,
about the whole canon thing, because people that are kind of maybe you're listening to us for the first time. Yeah. This is your first episode. We're in episode 56. Maybe you're listening. You maybe just found us. What we've tried to pride ourselves in doing in this show is, we've been trying to profile not just a character, because there's podcasts out there that just do characters.
Yeah.
But we're trying to profile anything and everything from the Star Wars universe. Characters, systems, ships, weapons, affiliations, whatever. But I think we've done a pretty good job in profiling something from what is now considered canon.
Yeah.
Either from the movies or the television show The Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. So we're going to continue doing that. But we do want to point out, it's no secret. I mean, we usually get all of our information from either our knowledge from reading a comic or a book or playing a game, or it comes from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Wikipedia.
Wookie. Yes, indeed.
Wikipedia.
I mean, where else would you get all this knowledge?
Correct.
Besides reading every single book.
That's right. And taking notes as you go.
Yeah. Okay, I get that.
So, there is a lot of stuff probably that we've talked about and mentioned, I'm pretty sure there is, that is now considered non-canon.
Oh, yeah.
But we're thinking about what we would, maybe down the road we can change it or update it. I don't know. But either way, we probably won't do anything, to be honest.
Maybe,
because, except maybe do a better job in making sure what is canon. Yeah. Just highlighting what is canon and what is non-canon.
Just specify, this is canon, this is EU.
Yes.
And
you can find it in this book.
Yeah.
Go check it out if you're interested.
Because it's still there. EU is going to be around.
It sounds like it is, correct.
You can still go back and read these books.
That's right.
Because they're great stories.
Nothing new, technically. Now, there is speculation that I read that there's updates to the Knights of the Old Republic games. Or the Old Republic game.
The Old Republic, like the MMO.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard that they're leaving it as is now. I mean, it's making millions of dollars. So.
But there's another update coming.
Oh, yeah.
And someone said, well, what about that? And they're like, no, it started EU.
Yeah.
It's staying EU.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not worried about it because that's thousands of years before the movie. So,
but you never know. They could make a movie
that's true.
Around that time, eventually, which I think they will. I think, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But, I think Darth Bane is inevitable. Yes. I think they're going to be a Darth Bane movie.
Yeah.
I really do. Because he's canon. He's mentioned in the Clone Wars now, so...
There'll be movie, think of if they can still do Star Wars movies 15 years down the road, there's going to be a whole new set of characters that have probably lasted for 5 years.
That's right.
People are going to forget about the Skywalkers and focus on these new characters.
Crazy.
That's nuts to think about.
So we just want to kind of mention that, you know, we are the people and characters or things that we profile are canon. Some of the information may not be canon, but now I think we've done a great job in making sure you understand that, you know, if we do mention anything beyond episode 6, like, it is non-canon.
Yes.
Like, it is, and we rarely do anything
We usually
beyond
go
the
to
movie.
the present time of, not necessarily the present time of the character, but within the movie timeline.
Correct.
Like, the person we're doing now, a lot of these characters live past the movies, but we're only going to what we know in canon timeline.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. And we will continue to definitely do that.
Yes.
So basically, the only thing you'll mainly get from us in the profiling is kind of the history of things that we know, which obviously comes from books and
absolutely.
and works and stuff like that. So anyway, okay, moving on. So the big character we're going to profile to finish out episode 3 month is somebody dear to our hearts from the original trilogy, and that is the great Bacca, Chewbacca.
The mighty Chewbacca.
The mighty Chewbacca. Now, he makes his appearance, obviously, in episode 3 very quickly and very short, but it was a very awesome treat to know that he was going to be in the movie. Played by Peter Mayhew still.
Yeah.
And he you see his homeworld in episode 3, Kashyyyk. And like you mentioned, Kashyyyk was actually...
It was, first mentioned in the coveted holiday special, Star Wars. Star Wars, the holiday
canon.
special.
No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
No, non-canon, I'm sure. I would love to see or hear, or I'd love to get a... I wish they would do a poll to see actually how many people actually have seen the holiday special.
I'll be surprised that a lot. Well, I guess the committed fans. I don't know. A lot have.
You think if you asked 50 people, like half of them would say they've seen it?
Oh no, I guess not.
I don't think so either.
It's like a cult.
I would say it's like a 10% maybe.
It seems like though a lot of people know about it at least.
Absolutely, they know about it. Yeah,
just haven't
absolutely.
seen it.
But there's no way you can get a copy unless you have a taped version of it from the television.
I saw it on YouTube. I found
someone uploaded it. Sure. Okay, that's true. There's probably a lot more people now since YouTube's been out.
Yeah, it was a bad quality VHS recording.
Yes, that's the only way you can get it. I have a bad quality VHS of it.
Like I had to see it though. It's just like I have to see this somehow.
Oh, I encourage everybody to see it. But then I encourage you to just forget about it.
It was bad.
You want to see a cartoon rendering of Boba Fett?
Oh my gosh. Or I mean Carrie Fisher can sing fine, but whatever. But it's just that number was boring.
Yes.
It was so boring.
It's bad. Go check it out.
Yeah.
YouTube holiday special Star Wars 1970.
Like
78? Yeah, I think it was 78. Okay, here we go. Chewbacca, obviously known as Chewie, was born 200 BBY. Now, that's something I did not know.
I knew he was old. I knew he was over 100 years old. I didn't know he was that old.
I did not know that. Now, that is canon because that actually is straight from Star Wars Encyclopedia on StarWars.com that he was born 200 years before the Battle of Yavin. He was the son of a Chickadik.
Oh, the art, yeah.
Atachikuk.
So you have to say it in Wookiee now. So break it up. Atachit Chuck.
Yeah.
Atachit Cuck.
Yeah. Okay.
Careful now.
His wife was Mala Tubuk, and his son. Or is it a son or daughter? It says the father of Lumpa Waru. Yeah. So he had a child. And he is named after the ancient Wookiee hero, the Great Bacca.
Yeah. So this right here is EU.
This is EU.
This is EU stuff.
Yeah, a lot of this came from some books and stuff like that. The Great Bacca was the first of the great chieftains of Kashyyyk, and he created a sword that denoted leadership among the Wookiees. So he was basically named after, his name place was some noble lineage in the Wookiee backgrounds. Obviously, you can tell from being his sidekick, Han Solo's sidekick, he was a very skilled mechanic, could repair anything. And it's interesting that you find out that they can easily understand BASIC. Now, BASIC being our standard version of English, basically. They call it BASIC in the Star Wars world.
Yeah.
But the Wookiees can understand it, but there's no way they can speak it. It's not like, a human that can speak Huttese or something like that, learn a different language. They're because of their vocal structure, they can't even speak BASIC. So that's why they speak in growls and
that's just always
gnarls.
Boggles me how not just like Han Solo can understand Chewbacca, but like you can understand Jabba talking. Like you can understand everybody talking. I guess they're basic. I don't know. Or they're speaking Huttese.
They're speaking Huttese. Yeah.
It's just like
they just know all the language. You have to know all the languages.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah,
Weird.
it's like
you can speak your native language and they can basically understand you.
Yes. Yeah.
Even
Except, I guess
droids.
I guess, yeah. Well, Jabba needed a translator, right?
Most time, but like
because wasn't C-3PO
C-3PO was there? Yeah, he was translating.
Yeah,
correct.
they were translating.
But I feel like you can still it out.
But sometimes he did
Han Solo
answered him right away
because Han Solo was talking to him.
Yeah,
yeah.
And he's like, ho, ho,
Yeah.
ho.
Boshuda.
Maybe he's laughing because he can't understand him.
Yeah.
What did he just say?
Doesn't even know. Yeah.
Oh, my bookie.
Yeah. On my book. Yeah, he talked to him in episode 4. Like,
just talk,
pure conversation. Yeah. And then why do you need a translator when Luke's there? That does not make sense, actually.
Well, I mean, just because it's just maybe it's like the kind of like
maybe because I can afford a translator.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have one.
Exactly. It's like that kind of culture, like because then they draw inspiration a lot from like the old like opium Chinese lords.
Yes.
Like didn't they have a lot of? I don't know. I feel like that just fits. It just works for me somehow. You just accept it. It's in the script. I don't know. You just accept it.
Maybe he has a hard time concentrating when he's at his house. I don't know.
That's cool.
Okay, so Chewbacca. Now here's the thing. Now obviously it's EU, but I read the great books that were deemed the Han Solo trilogy.
Yeah.
Did you ever read those?
I did not. I have not.
Great books. It obviously follows Han's entire life leading up to episode 4. It was really cool because it literally like ended as he's in the cantina.
That's cool.
Seeing Chewbacca talking to Obi-Wan.
That's really
cool. It was
cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
So you learn not only obviously Han's history, but how he meets Chewbacca. Mm-hmm. And that's where this comes in here. Chewbacca, it says most Wookiees actually stay on Kashyyyk, but he was had an explorer mind in his head, so he wanted to get out. So he left his home world he left. Yeah, he left and got out there and started navigating, but then eventually got caught because here's the thing, and I learned this more. It was weird because I learned this more playing Star Wars the card game.
Yeah.
That the Trandoshans hunted Wookiees.
Yeah.
Like Bosk, basically. His race, the Trandoshans. They hunted Wookiees for sport, and they enslaved them. Mm-hmm. So when the Empire came around and took over, they actually enslaved Wookiees as well. Ones that they didn't necessarily go to Kashyyyk and enslave them, but if they found them off-world, basically, they captured them and basically enslaved them, and Trandoshans did the same. But so Chewbacca eventually gets... No, well, first he meets his... What does it say? He meets his wife, his future wife.
Yes. By
saving her. Mm-hmm. She was enslaved by some Trandoshans. So he saves her, and eventually he ends up getting caught as well.
Then he gets into this like crazy duel,
right?
With I just don't want to even try to pronounce any of these names, and that's what we're like struggling on. Tojevuk, maybe it's a French Wookiee, I don't know.
Yeah,
and basically he rescues rescues his future wife, but then this other Wookiee comes into the picture trying to fight for Mala,
Right.
the future wife of Chewbacca, her affection, and so now Chewbacca's in like this duel to the death with this guy, with this Wookiee. Apparently, he's very good at swinging around those trees on Kashyyyk.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Tarzan or something. So Chewbacca's always like they're fighting through the tall trees in Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk's very foresty, and that's where like Chewbacca's like swinging on these trees and like gets the upper hand, and maybe he gets the high ground. Who knows? And he's able to take out this guy, this other Wookiee. Basically, sends him down, plummeting to the bottoms of Kashyyyk, where he dies. And it says, "By the dangerous creatures of Kashyyyk." Apparently, there's some nasty little critters there on the bottom of Kashyyyk, because all the Wookiees live in like houses up in the trees.
Yes.
They have like these basically big, a lot of tree houses. Pretty much,
Very much like Ewoks.
Yeah, and I think you see some of it in episode 3. I think.
Yes.
Those fortified
Basically.
fortifications, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Eventually, he's during this now after the Clone Wars and everything during the Empire's rule, he's actually betrayed by the person you were talking about. I won't even say his name. And he's betrayed by him and sold basically to the Trandoshans, to the slaver Soch. And it was in there that actually he helped lead a bunch of Wookiees to freedom. They were all captors, and he kind of encouraged them, and they fought their way out and escaped. But eventually getting... I want to make sure I get this right. He's eventually caught by the Empire, right?
Yes.
And that's where he comes across Han.
Correct.
He basically is getting beaten. And I remember this in the book. He's basically getting beaten by this guy, Siklus, this Imperial commander. Mm-hmm. And basically Han cannot stand by and just watch, so he intervenes.
Yeah.
Saves Chewbacca. They basically escape together, and therefore he is paying a life debt to Han for saving his life. That is why he basically takes everything he says to him and never questions.
Yeah.
Because in the movies, you're like, God, he is just on him all the time. But yeah.
No, this one goes there. That one goes there.
Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly.
Does it.
So obviously then there's all kinds of stories of them in the EU.
Yeah.
Of them traveling, smuggling.
Especially the death of Chewbacca.
Now this is 25 years after episode 6.
Very beginning of the new Jedi Order series.
Yes.
And this, I had been reading the Star Wars EU for a little bit at that time, and I was just totally blown away. I mean, the book had been out for a little while by the time I read it, but it was in the book. I believe it was Vector Prime, and yes, it is. He's in Vector Prime, the first book in the new Jedi Order series, written by R.A. Salvatore, who is a huge science fiction writer.
Yes.
But as in this book, he didn't come up with the idea to kill Chewbacca. This idea was already made by this other author, but it was just kind of the committee of Star Wars, I guess the Lucasfilms publishing, or maybe it was Del Rey Books. I actually don't know who signed this idea off, but basically it was a sign that Chewbacca would die in the beginning part of the Jedi Order series. And when they hired R.A. Salvatore to write the book, they told him, you have to kill off Chewbacca in this book. No, he didn't want to, but he had to. He's under contract, so he had to kill him. And because of that, all the Star Wars fans who read that book basically just hate R.A. Salvatore. He no longer writes Star Wars books because of the backlash he got from killing off Chewbacca. But he gave him a really cool death, though, if any character had to have a cool death. Basically, in this book, if you want to read it, which I do recommend you read some of these EU books, because a lot of great stories, especially, of course, the Thrawn trilogy. But New Jedi Order, the Vector Prime, there's this alien race coming in from outside the galaxy that cannot be affected by the Force at the start. And then they're all like an organic, race. They every weapon, everything they wear, every single thing is organic. It's grown, and they have this weapon, this creature that basically I think can affect gravity, like gravitational pulls. It's like this machine or whatever that they have. Mm-hmm. They put it on this planet, and on then like they're invading or whatever. But like Chewbacca is on it, but this creature is on it, and he's pulling basically one of the orbiting moons onto this planet. And Chewbacca, while he's saving Anakin, Han Solo, and even his son Anakin Solo, and he saved them, and they're about to try to rescue Chewbacca, but it's too late, and the Han Solo has to basically leave Chewbacca on the planet to die. And Chewbacca, like the last scene on the book is Chewbacca raising his arms up, screaming like in his roar at this moon that is coming down upon him. And so and the Falcon flies away as these two space objects collide. Dang. And Chewbacca dies, along with all the other people on this planet. And it's a great story because Han Solo starts to resent Anakin Solo, really gets into like this just downward spiral for a couple books until he forgives himself and forgives Anakin and moves on. Although he doesn't, he's always hurt by the death of Chewbacca. But it's just a great way to start off a series. Very, very tough. But Chewbacca is alive. He's still alive. Because, good news, that's not canon.
That is not canon.
So
we are going to see him in episode 7.
Yeah.
So that is 30 years after.
Yep.
So he's definitely around. So that's basically, obviously, leading up to the movies. And we know of the movies. So his history, his history could change.
Yeah.
We could talk about that eventually again, maybe.
I mean, if you want to watch more, he's in the Clone Wars.
He is in the Clone Wars.
Episode or just one episode?
I think he is
one or two.
In one episode.
The one actually Trandoshans are hunting the Wookiees.
It's called Wookiee Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's in one episode of the Clone Wars. But I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure we'll get more stories with him because we're going to get some movies and comics and stuff from that 19-year gap between 3 and 4.
We got Rebels coming out.
And Rebels, he could show up in there. I mean, there's just he's just a very, obviously one of the most recognized characters in Star Wars history. But but this EU stuff, which we'll talk about now. But some of it, some of what we're talking about again, may not be real. All right, so what's the big announcement?
All right. Well, Lucasfilm has announced basically that every single thing that has been written in books, comics, video games is non-canon. It is. We've talked a little bit about this before the show, but we always knew that there was George's canon, and then there was the EU, and that it wasn't necessarily considered not ever potentially going to be part of canon. That it was just a separate timeline, and if it didn't contradict the movies, then it was kind of like considered to be like the same level as the movies. But this announcement by Lucasfilm totally separates the EU with the movies and the TV show. Like they're not going to be mingled. And it's not totally confirmed that whether or not the story group, which is the canon organization, whatever you want to call it,
pretty much,
it's not totally confirmed or denied that they will later incorporate whole books into the EU. I don't think they will.
No, I don't think they will either.
There has some quotes here that kind of allude to that, saying like, because they're gonna every single book that's already been written is going to be republished under the Legends, like I guess title or heading. Banner. That banner. And if they have that banner, it's not like they're gonna later on be like, oh, let's just take that banner off, put it back in the canon. I think it's just this is a nice, easy, clean way of just starting over.
Now let me mention, they took my idea.
They did take
and went the other way.
Yeah, they didn't want to do a button
icon. Instead of recognizing what is canon, they're recognizing what isn't canon.
Yes, yeah.
So everything that's canon, won't have any banners or anything on it.
Yes.
So if you see a Legends banner, which there's a picture of Heir to the Empire, has a Legends thing on top of it, that is considered non-canon.
I want to see if they republish the novelizations
That's right.
Legends, or I mean, I guess they wouldn't. I mean, it's the movie. I don't know. Because like in episode 1 novelization, they mentioned Darth Bane, although he is canon now because we have seen him in the Clone Wars TV show, so he is canon. It's undisputable. Darth Bane.
I
is
agree
canon.
with that, but the only thing is, this says all books.
Yeah.
And only that which is in the movies or the Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's very specific.
So I think that it is all non-canon. Basically, I mean, yeah, I think it's just non-canon. I mean, because there's stuff in the books that obviously that's not in the movies.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what they're trying to separate it from.
And and this includes video games. Mm-hmm. So Force Unleashed, officially not canon.
Yep.
Old Republic, all that stuff. I mean, there's several quotes here from Kathleen Kennedy talking. You know, they want to bring Star Wars back to the big screen, and so, but they keep talking about the future of interconnected storytelling, and that's what they're talking about. Where every single thing that will be published henceforth will be considered canon. So any book that will now be published, any comic book, any video game, will be canon. They're working very hard at interconnecting everything right now. Although, like Lucasfilm, maybe not George Lucas himself, but Lucasfilm definitely had a hand in what could be and what could not be published in the books.
Yes.
I mean, I guess that's just their job of keeping their franchise.
Well, that's the thing that's the thing to make sure. I think it's to point out is that even though the EU, in George's mind or whatever, wasn't canon, the EU always abided by a timeline. Did it not?
They did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, when Chewbacca died, you couldn't write about him, 30 years after Return of the Jedi because he's dead. Yeah. Now, this is where, and I don't know if this is where I should bring it up or later, but this is. See, my thing is that what I remember from the EU, what I remember from these books when these books started coming out in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, like, I always thought, okay, I've always thought I read or heard that, okay, everything, since Lucas owns everything Star Wars, everything that came out had to go get approval, from Lucas, because I remember hearing, like, okay, we knew that these were episodes 4, 5, and 6. We knew we were going to eventually get 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, or if you know, like, he basically blocked off 1 through 6. Like, in that time frame, there was no stories. You could never get anything. Mm-hmm. That's why the biggest surprise was when Shadows of the Empire came out. Because I was like, wait a minute, that's during that timeline of the movies. So to me, that's why I always thought that this stuff was, I always thought the expanded universe was technically canon because that's what he allowed everybody to write because the movies was his. But now that's just the case. Now I'm reading that he had always said the EU is non-canon.
He's just not concerned with it. Like,
correct.
He can just do whatever he wants, and he doesn't have to pay attention to what EU says.
Correct. Because now they're doing stories outside of that timeline. Yeah. 7, 8, 9 are obviously years and years. I mean, during the biggest part of the expanded universe.
Yeah. So
it just makes sense now to, yes, the expanded universe is non-canon because now that their stories are going to, and it would kind of hinder the movies because you'd have to abide by what's out there, and that's not right, I think, for filmmakers either. Because so anyway.
That's the point they make in the article is they want to give the filmmakers as much freedom as possible in these new movies. So therefore, they need to start fresh with the EU. There's just always that mentality, like, oh, if I make this movie, I can't.
Yeah, Chewbacca's dead.
Yeah, I can't have him in episode 7.
I can't have him.
But now they can do whatever they want. So, I mean, there's been a lot of varying degrees of approval and disapproval for all of this. I know we are in approval of this. My buddy Adam Horn, who got me into the expanded universe, he's also for it. I mean, he's read just about every expanded universe book there is, and he's totally for it because he loves, like me, he loves the idea that we're getting new, fresh stories, like a new, fresh timeline. But also, like many fans, he is in love with the Thrawn trilogy, and he feels, if at all possible, the Thrawn trilogy should be canon because it's just too good. And Thrawn is the best villain to come out of Expanded Universe, pretty much. Mm-hmm. But it's non-canon because that's the example that we just said. That cover is like the first cover they are showing with the Legends banner. So I mean, well, you said it's possible that we could probably see Thrawn in some form of TV show or movie.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I agree. Definitely agree with that. And it's just, I read a comment, I think this morning or yesterday, about this guy saying how he's kind of upset in a way that the expanded universe is being just not counted as canon, because to this guy, the expanded universe was better than the movies. He feels like it made the movies better, pretty much. Because
I can see that argument, definitely. But here's the thing: is that no one. I mean, I like I said, I haven't seen an interview specifically from George back in the '80s or whatever that says, everything beyond the movies is not real.
Yeah,
it's not. I know it was dubbed Expanded Universe.
Yeah,
but now, if he says that, which a lot of people are saying, it's always been that way. Yeah. It's always been that way. Well, if it's always been that way, then no one could be upset.
Yeah.
That this is now coming out that none of that's canon, because if it's never been canon, if it's never been considered canon, then and see, like I said, I never really knew that. Yeah. I always thought that it was part of the timeline, and I can understand things. Continuity wise, things get messed up, and like I said, there was a Boba Fett storyline. Well, that changed, so okay, that part drops into non-canon. But I always figured that everything was canon until it gets contradicted. But now they're saying no, it's always been non-canon.
Yeah,
that's a big thing.
I guess I kind of figured that like you. Like I figured it wasn't. I've always held the movies as like the canon. And I've always had the Expanded Universe as just one tier lower, but still to me that was just as real as the movies.
Correct. And I think that's what a lot of people started accepting.
Yeah.
But I only did that not knowing that he had said that he had said everything is non-canon.
Yeah.
Basically. Because I think I even read it online that, everything is, well, I take that back. Everything is, they have G canon.
Yeah.
And then they had T canon, maybe. I think it was T canon.
Television or something. I don't know.
Or timeline. It was like timeline, maybe.
Well, I know there was G canon and like EU canon.
Yeah, EU canon.
N canon.
And then N canon. And I thought that stuff moved down to non-canon once it was contradicted by G canon.
Yes, that is true. Yes.
So,
but
I figured that I always figured that the EU was part of that universe. But see, that's what they're saying now, is it never was.
Yeah.
It's just they borrow stuff from it.
Yeah,
they can take stuff, which they do anyway.
They've done a lot more than I even realized.
Yes,
they've done a whole lot, and I think we will continue to get stuff like that. Like Mara Jade probably will show up.
Yes,
Solo Twins. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're going to get a lot of this stuff in the movie. So I don't know. It's just I'm all for it. I think it's fantastic. I can't because here's another piece of news. I guess we can kind of get into. Del Rey Books, it's been announced that they are the first 4 novels to come out of this. The first 4 canon novels, official canon, have been announced. And you can go to StarWars.com to read this, or you can go to Facebook.com/Star Wars Books, Del Rey Books. They have all these books kind of profiled. And the first one to come out will be titled Star Wars A New Dawn, yes, it was rumored to be that title for Episode 7, but it is not. It is the title for this book. Star Wars A New Dawn is coming out
September 2nd.
Yeah, September 2nd this year.
We're actually getting 2 this year. I thought we were only getting 1.
That's true. Wow. Okay, so the first one is Star Wars A New Dawn, coming out September 2nd, 2014 as a hardcover and ebook. It is about basically the characters from Rebels. It's almost like a prequel.
Yes.
Before the Rebels, and telling the story of, is that Ezra and Hera, basically?
No, it's Kanan.
Ezra is the kid. Kanan and Hera.
Yeah.
And kind of I mean, the artwork for these covers are pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's see. I'll click on the Facebook thing here to kind of give a brief synopsis of each book because they actually have it. Which so I got surprising how much information we got. And we'll tweet out. I'm going to tweet out
the
picture of all these covers. So let's go. Okay, A New Dawn. It's the very first official canon novel. And this is interesting. Set solidly in the legendary Dark Times between episode 3 and 4. So I didn't know that was actually labeled the Dark Times.
Yeah, that was called the Dark Times. Yeah.
So it's introducing the readers to Kanan and Hera, the two characters from the animated from Rebels, and that's basically all we have from that book. But the second book to come out is Star Wars Tarkin, written by James Luceno, a huge Star Wars author. And I actually just now caught this because I made a camera one talking about how I can't wait. I hope to see these famous Star Wars authors writing canon books. And this is it. James Luceno, huge author, Tarkin. And this one is coming out November 4th of this year. That's awesome. So this is about, of course, Wilhuff Tarkin. And let's see, it says, it gives Tarkin the Darth Plagueis treatment, which is interesting. It doesn't have nothing to do with Darth Plagueis, but just the Plagueis treatment, which...
Like, did he write Darth Plagueis?
He did.
Okay, well, that's what he's just referring to. Unfortunately, that's probably Legends, but...
Plagueis, yes. Darth Plagueis is probably Legends. See, these covers don't have that banner because they're real.
They're real.
And the Tarkin book may discount some stuff that we've said in our Tarkin episode.
That's right.
We'll address that if ever it does.
I don't know if this is a history. I guess it may be a history.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that. Yeah. He survived the Death Star.
Yeah, right.
All right. So the third book to come out, which will be the beginning of January, it just says January 2015.
God, I can't wait for this
Star Wars Heir to the Jedi.
Yes.
And it's interesting that they use the Heir to thing with Heir to the Empire. Heir to the Jedi. It's about Luke Skywalker. And this is an awesome looking cover. And it's set in between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. So along the same time as the comic The Star Wars is right now.
Which is not canon.
Non-canon. So this is it says for the first time ever, written entirely from Luke Skywalker's first-person point of view, created in collaboration with the Lucasfilm Story Group, and the author is Kevin Herney, which I feel like I've heard of his name before. I should have. Mm-hmm. I mean, all of these authors I feel like I've heard of before. I'm only familiar with the obvious, most famous authors, but oh well. So the fourth book to come out in also 2015 was March 2015, written by Paul Kemp, another big author. It's called Star Wars: Lords of the Sith. Yeah. This is a very interesting plot. It says, when the Emperor and his notorious apprentice Darth Vader find themselves stranded in the middle of insurgent action on an inhospitable planet, they must rely solely on each other, the Force, and their awesome martial skills to prevail. And also created in collaboration with Story Group. All these books are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a funny sounding plot. Like I feel like it's like a reality show or something. Like these two guys are just off by themselves.
I know.
Fighting through I feel like they have no soldiers. I don't know. The cover again is awesome. You have the Emperor using his Force lightning, Vader with his lightsaber out. I can't wait.
These are all best-selling authors. I mean,
yes, they are. Oh my!
This is very exciting. Now, what you're gonna get now, and I'm assuming you'll probably get this on a lot of the shows, Star Wars shows. But Casey and I, we're reading everything. We're definitely reading everything. Now, when I'm talking about everything, I'm going to read every comic that is canon as well.
Yes.
I'm going to read all the books. I'm going to try to play as many video games as I can. I mean, This is just exciting times.
Yeah. And maybe this is why I never felt the motivation enough to finish reading all this.
Definitely
books.
not.
It's like, because I've bought a lot of books that I haven't even read yet. I haven't finished the New Jedi Order.
Yeah, you've got a stack of them.
I've got a stack of them, and I've always been my dream to catch up to current EU timeline. But it's like I'm not going to now.
I've only read the Han Solo trilogy, like I said, Shadows of the Empire, Actually, the first book I read was the Truce at Bacca, which is the book right after episode 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally takes place right at the battle of the celebration on Endor.
Yeah.
And then I read what everybody considered 789, the Heir to the Empire, the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah.
That is it. That's the only EU stuff I've ever read. And then I've read a bunch of comics.
Yeah.
So I feel good that I'm not so immersed in the EU that I will be, and that's the thing too is, would you be kind of not upset, but you might so more than me, like if something comes out, like a movie comes out where they do borrow a character.
Yeah. And they change it.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool because you would recognize.
Yeah.
Oh, I know who that is.
Yeah.
But obviously who that is isn't really.
It's going to be interesting. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if there's just a character on the movies that just has the name Kyle Katarn and he's a Jedi, or if I see a character his name is Kip Duron or any of these other big EU characters like Corran Horn. I'm gonna read these guys like, oh, that's so cool. Like I know him, but yet I don't know him.
Right.
But like it's just, I mean, if we get a Mara Jade and she's a blonde, that might make me a little mad. But I can get over just about anything.
Yeah.
That's just I mean, I think the filmmakers and authors respect the EU enough not to just change things for just to change them. I feel like they'll keep. I'm interested. What will they keep of the EU? Are they going to just totally disregard and contradict every single thing that's been written in the EU? Like if they make a book about Mara Jade, will they totally change her origin?
I think it just solely depends on the filmmaker.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on if they want to. And obviously the structure of the film dictates, what that character needs to be and do.
See, I'm fine with that.
So, if Mara Jade, because it's possible Mara Jade, who is widely known as being a Sith, or not a Sith, but a Dark Apprentice first, she may never have, she may just already be in the Jedi Order and just be a Jedi the whole time. She may just be a good guy, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it just depends on where the story is and what the story lends itself to. So in that part, I'm actually thrilled that I don't know that much about the EU.
Yeah, true.
To really be like, oh, that's different,
Yeah. See, I'll notice that, but I can get over it.
Yeah.
I've already pretty much made my peace with everything being squashed.
Right. If you notice, I don't have any EU books on my shelf anymore.
You'll see.
Except the movies.
Yeah, you'll see.
But that'll all come down once I get these.
Yeah.
I'll just start putting the actual.
Yeah, you'll see in the camera one, like I emptied my whole bookshelf. I was like, you notice there's nothing in my bookshelf. I'm going to put it back in there, though, because I have to put my books back in there. But
well, you can start putting these books in there.
I'll make a separate, my EU shelf, my canon shelf.
Yeah, like I'm like, it's part of my thing now. I think I want to buy, because they usually come out in hardcover first, right? So I want to buy the hardcovers of all these books. Yeah. And I'll probably
get signed, man.
Yeah. See, I'll probably buy them, but to be honest, I'll probably read them on my pad or something like that.
Buy the ebook version. Oh, will it come with an ebook version?
Probably? I don't think so, but I don't know.
I'll buy it and I'll read it. Can't wait to get back into reading Star Wars. I miss it so much.
Totally. I just want to read. I just want to get immersed.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is that, before this, it was watch a movie, go read something that's not canon.
Yeah.
That's basically what you were doing.
Yeah.
Now everything I read from now on is part of it, man.
Like Marvel doesn't even do this. The Marvel movies,
no,
they don't have books that are considered canon with the movies.
Well, they do, and they tell
the prequel
you.
comics.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Yeah,
but nothing. Yeah, nothing now. You can't read any Superman books right now and know that it's connected to Man of Steel.
Yeah.
It's not. Now that would be very difficult to do anyway.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So we haven't heard this necessarily, but I'm assuming the comics technically won't be canon until next year.
So after the Switch?
I think. But I take that back, because isn't there a Darth Maul arc coming out this summer?
Yeah.
that is going to be considered canon. I think.
Sure, it's considered canon.
Right. So maybe there are stuff
Like
that's
literally from here on out.
I think
like,
is it here on out that everything is canon?
I need to find that part in the article, but that's what I remember reading. From here on out.
Well, I was reading it too, and I think you're right about that. I think
It says upcoming novels, true canon. I mean, it just says novels.
Yeah, see, the question is going to be like games that have been in development.
I mean, that's why they think maybe 1313 was.
Is that why
off.
everything got canceled? I mean,
because to rewritten a little bit, but like, yeah, I mean, it's just everything right now is just non-canon. It's just crazy.
Because it says under Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy's direction, the company for the first time ever has formed a story group to oversee and coordinate all Star Wars creative development.
Yeah.
So there, I think there is still lingering questions out there about whether or not whether or not, but when does like the comics canon start kicking in?
Yeah.
When does the game I think there's an article. Didn't you tweet out an article that says first game is a Battlefront? Is Battlefront going to be canon?
Oh, probably. Because it's coming out. They've been delaying that a lot, so that's probably going to be canon.
It has to. But see, that was developed in development probably years before the buyout happened.
Yeah, but now they're changing some things.
They are changing some
I mean,
things.
here's what Kathleen Kennedy says. She says, "We're set to bring Star Wars back to the big screen and continue the adventure through games, books, comics, and new formats that are just emerging. In the future,
Netflix is going to be one of them.
Absolutely. The future of interconnected storytelling will allow fans to explore this galaxy in deeper ways than ever before. It's just in order to give creative freedom to the filmmakers, preserve an element of the surprise and discovery for the audience, which is perfect. And it says Star Wars episodes 7 through 9 will not tell the same story told in the post Return of the Jedi expanded universe. While the universe that readers knew is changing, it is not being discarded. And it talks about the legends. And it's just talks about how elements of the expanded universe has been incorporated. And it's surprising how much they've been taking from the role playing game that came out from the 1980s. There was a big Star Wars role playing game, and the Inquisitor from Rebels and some other elements are just they're being taken from this very obscure EU thing. But it was just interesting. But it says on the screen the first new canon to appear will be Star Wars Rebels. And then I guess the first new books are the 4 that we just talked about from Del Rey. And it actually says input directly from Dave Filoni, which is funny. Well, that's for Rebels though. Let's talk about A New Dawn book has input from Dave Filoni, and it just mentions the novels.
So there is more to be discovered, I think, because I think this is a good start to explain what's happening.
Yeah.
But I think I guess I think we'll get, as things get released, okay, here's the first series of comics that are canon.
Yeah.
Here's the first video game that is canon.
Yeah.
I think they'll start doing that. Because Dark Horse still is publishing comics, even new comics, the Clone Wars, the Darth Maul arc.
Yeah.
They still have 7 months to, if they want to put out a new title right now, they have that option still. Mm-hmm. They lose it at the end of this year, so I'm just assuming that starting in January of 2015 we'll get.
Well, maybe by the time the first book comes out, whenever A New Dawn comes out.
It's possible.
I mean, it says, the quote is, all aspects of Star Wars storytelling moving forward will be connected. But sounds like it means now, when the article is published.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, anything new coming out now is considered.
That's what it seems like. Yeah,
it's considered canon, I guess. I mean,
so why wouldn't Dark Horse be like, hey, let's do, maybe story groups shutting them down?
Well, see, that's the thing. Yeah, it's up to them.
Yeah,
it really is up to them, because there are. I think Dark Horse has, I want to say they have five or six storylines going on right now. Because the thing about what they do, which is, they do a lot of what they call them. They call them like mini series. They don't, like there's one called right now, Darth Vader and the Cry of Shadows.
Yeah,
it's only a 5-issue arc. That's it. It's done. So that something like that, they definitely, I'm sure they have plans for stuff like that coming out now. But see, that's probably been in development or been written, but it hasn't been out yet. So is that going to be canon? I don't know.
As long as it doesn't have the Legends
because
banner.
books are. Yeah, that's the thing too. Is that a Legends book? Is that going to go in comics?
I think it will,
or just novels? Because we only see a picture of a novel.
Yeah, I feel like it will.
Because those aren't going to be technically reprinted.
Yeah,
there's no demand really for to go back and get a comic from last year.
Yeah,
but it is a question whether or not. I would assume so. I'm with you. I would assume that if there's a new arc coming, like starting next month or so, that it should have a Legends banner on it saying that, look, this is not canon, but enjoy it.
And you're right. Really quick about the Battlefront. I'm reading the article again. It says Lucasfilm representative confirms that future game releases will also be canonical. This includes Battlefront and Visceral's new Star Wars game being written by the.
So Battlefront's basically going to be the first game.
Yeah,
in
looks
the canon.
Like
Wow. So that really is probably why 1313 got shelved.
Yeah, and Detours.
And oh wow, yeah, Detours.
Because how can that be canon?
That will not be canon. We will never see Detours.
Probably not.
Wow. We've seen it, a little bit of it. Now, see, they could still...
They'll just say it's not canon.
Yeah, they'll just put a Legends banner on it, release it as a DVD. I'd buy it.
Yeah.
I want to see it, man. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah. Because maybe that's why they were saying so much in Celebration, like, Lucas said this is canon. Because he was just like, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's going to be discontinued.
Exactly.
It's like,
little do you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell.
Make millions.
Billions.
Billions of dollars.
For $4 billion.
Gosh, that's exciting. I'm itching.
So what's your overall feeling?
Exciting and anticipating. Just get antsy. Because just reading Star Wars as a kid, it was almost up to that level of watching Star Wars. Like watching Star Wars for the first time, reading a new Star Wars book for the first time. It was fantastic. I loved it. Because you learn so much more. I mean, you do learn more about Star Wars. You learn more about the Force. Like now, when I'm watching the movies, I'm thinking like how the Force is written, like how the characteristics of using the Force is so deep. It's amazing. So I'm so excited to read these new books that will be canon. And that's why I'm even more excited, because it is canon. I'm anticipating just so many great things to come out soon. Pumped for it.
Yeah, ever since this story group was announced, and I'm just been waiting for the first material. That's really it. I mean, September is not that far away, so I'm stoked about we'll get the series. I think it'll probably debut right before then, or maybe right after that, I guess.
You've got to read that book before we see the show, maybe.
I know. I just think I just think what's really cool is to know, if you really think about it, like everything that my daughter gets exposed to is canon.
Yeah.
Like everything from now on, she will understand it to be the same world. And that's the way we all kind of grew up as, in a sense. But we know now that it's not. At least now, kids now growing up, they'll basically be just engulfed. And Star Wars is, and I thought about, well, I guess I don't know if we should address it, but yeah, we'll talk about it next week, because next week will be kind of May the 4th, after May the 4th. But, we kind of did something last year about talking about what kind of Star Wars means to us. And, it really is it's just an amazing, concept for everybody. And we've been getting emails from people that listen to the show, and one in particular from the guy Christopher Biggs, and he had mentioned in an email to us that how we've kind of rejuvenated his love for Star Wars, and that's the thing, is that this I think this whole concept of the expanding universe, not the expanding universe, but these new timeline of canon from every aspect, every medium. Because that's the thing, is not everybody that reads comics reads novels. Not everybody that plays video games reads comics, or not everybody that watches the movies reads anything. So this is definitely a unified way that people could choose their medium, but still be part of the same universe. I mean, this is not only going to unify the Star Wars universe, but it's going to unify all of us fans. I mean, everything, and that is just so awesome to think about.
Because now, before you were like a fanatic, or I guess a buff of EU knowledge, like I could tell you what planet Mara Jade, was born, all that stuff. But now it's all non-canon. But now you really can become knowledgeable of everything about Star Wars.
Correct.
Because I guess I hate to say, but like my knowledge of the EU is useless.
That's right.
It's just,
that's right.
But now I'm excited to start. I'm starting. It's like the reboot of the DC universe.
Exactly.
Everybody can start from square one, learning everything, because everybody can go watch the movies and watch Clone Wars right now if you wanted to. Now everybody can be on the same page of learning Star Wars together.
Exactly.
And
that is, and honestly, to really think about it, that is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because
how could you do that?
How could you do that with something so vast?
Yeah.
And so big.
Reset and go.
But you're right, though. That's what DC did, which was a brilliant move, I think, because they attracted so many more new readers.
Yeah.
Now, they don't have interconnectivity with all their stuff.
Yeah, and they've kept a lot of the past as well.
Right. Yes. But see, but the big universe of the comics, like all of those are connected.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is really cool, because you can basically read every DC book and it's all intertwined. But now it's like, because I'm really into the comic world now.
Yeah.
And knowing that I can read Star Wars comics that are part of the movie stuff, like that is so exciting for me.
Play a video game.
Yes.
So you're really playing something. That's what was so cool about Force Unleashed. You were actually playing something that is considered canon at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's like, really, again, I get that same chance.
Yeah.
And it's silly that, it's always silly when talking about how geeky I am about Star Wars, or how can I devote so much time to something so trivial, but it's still, it's just like how someone has their song or their piece of artwork or something like that it's inspiring to them, and
absolutely
ways. This although it is a kid's movie, a kid's story, it's just the mythology and the themes there are so real to so many people in different ways. It's a real thing to not like it's a real emotionally. It's real.
It's a passion.
It's passion. Yeah.
It is. Be it a teacher, be it a freaking cook, whatever you love doing. There's no reason that Star Wars cannot be one of those.
Yeah.
What you love doing.
Yeah. The fact that it's a movie and it's cinema and a blockbuster, that doesn't change the fact. It's your experience of it.
Yeah. That's true.
It's like someone's like, oh, how can you do that? It's like it's a action film. How can you have a emotional experience with that? Or like going to Disney World. You're 23-year-old man. How can you go to Disney World and still act like a kid like that? Like, well, because it's what it means to me.
It does. Star Wars is. There's nothing. I don't know. There's nothing. It's hard. Maybe it is. Maybe it's hard to describe because it's so.
Yeah.
To me, it's just so part of. Not just American, like human culture. It is.
Yeah, it's influenced a lot. People don't realize.
No, it is like you'd be hard pressed to find someone that has never heard of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
maybe they haven't seen the movie, but they at least heard of it.
Yeah.
You know, I
understand a reference or two.
I remember at one point in the 90s, there was a poll that who is the most recognized person in the world.
Yeah.
And this was the mid-90s. You have any idea who it was?
Some from Star Wars, I can guess.
No.
Oh, okay.
It was Michael Jordan.
Okay.
He was the most recognized person. I mean, more than the president. He was the most recognized person in the world. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have these people that, you know, in concepts that are just worldly, but they said person. Now, you know, I'd be hard pressed to say if they had said maybe concept or movie or, you know, culture or something. I don't know. It was just Star Wars has got to be at the top or close to it, if anything. But especially in the coming, 5 years from now, just think about how much content we're going to have out there. I mean, it's not like, you know, I can understand there'd be downtime because, you know, there wasn't a movie for like 18 years. But now, if we're going to get a movie every year, we're going to get 4 or 5 novels every year.
It's going to be a monster.
Oh, I mean, you can't stop it, man.
I mean, how it flourished during that downtime, as you said, it's going to be, you know, exponentially greater now.
And I contribute, I got to admit, I contribute a lot of the sustainability of Star Wars to the EU.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, if it wasn't for the EU, a lot of people might have forgotten that, whoa, we're getting another Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
You know, like...
That's cool. Yeah,
that is cool. Yeah. Well, maybe we... But, you know, people grew... Like you, especially, like you grew up with the EU. Yeah. I didn't really... I was kind of waiting...
Yeah.
For episode 1.
Yeah. But EU definitely fueled my love for Star Wars.
Right.
And
that's why a lot of people are speaking up about it and they're passionate about it because that's what... You know, it wasn't necessarily the movies they fell in love with. It was the expanding universe, which grew into loving the movies even more.
But like, you know, I first read EU when I was in seventh grade, so I was well aware of a Star Wars fan before then. Yeah.
It's just it just really is. I don't know. It's mind numbing to actually think how big and a part of our world Star Wars has become. It's so awesome. I remember I was just working the other day. I had a client in there. She brought her son because we were finishing a project, and he came in my room. He's 10 years old. And he walked in my room at my office, and I've got one of those statues that you you bought me the Vader one, but I got a statue of that Brandon Routh Superman, right?
Yeah.
And I've got, you know, those letters that Brooke made for me, the DC there, right, covered in comics pages. Yeah. And then I've got another table that's got the Stormtrooper clock and the book. Oh, I gotta get the trivia book.
Yeah.
So he asked me. It was weird because he asked me. He's like, "What do you like better, Star Wars or Superman?"
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, "Well, my favorite superhero is Superman.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that compares to Star Wars."
I would give the same answer.
I mean, it's so big and vast, and he was a Star Wars fan too, so he was like, "Yeah, I'm into Star Wars." He's really into Legos.
Yeah,
Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm seeing that a lot too.
He has all the sets. He's buying all the sets. He was looking up sets. I mean, it's just incredible what we're going to be getting with Star Wars. And it's exciting too because we haven't even mentioned, and they haven't really mentioned, you know, I guess you're kind of covering everything with novels, comics, and games.
Yeah.
But I guess you can throw in there that deal they got with Netflix, online content.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, that's going to be Star Wars stuff there. There's going to be first run Star Wars stuff that you can only see on Netflix at that time when it released. And obviously that's going to be probably canon stuff. So
Yoda Chronicles?
Yeah.
I
doubt it. No, Lego stuff. It's for kids. And that's sad to think maybe we might not get any Legos. Now that's kind of a question. I mean, is it possible something like that could be made that's intentionally not canon?
Goofy.
I mean,
intentionally not canon.
yeah, like
By Lucasfilm like that.
right.
Well, if they,
I don't know if they're going to do that though.
well, the next Yoda Chronicles comes out May the 4th. Is that when it does?
No, there's no more Yoda Chronicles.
I think they had a preview of something. That's one of the. Hold on.
because as far as I knew, there was only going to be 3 of them.
Well,
And 3 of them
there's
are out.
Hold on one second. But
Keep talking because I got to get the book.
All right. Anyways, because I remember reading something about Yoda Chronicles and a May the 4th deal, and I'm trying to find it, and this is driving me nuts. Okay, Legos to celebrate the launch of the Yoda Chronicles Wednesday, May 29th. Oh, I think this is just a.
Is that this year or last year?
Well, I think this is this year. I think that might be just talking about this big toy set. The new. Hold on. There we go. Yes, here we go. We're gonna do this now. The new Yoda Chronicles. I think it was a mix of Jay Baruchel, Jeff Goldblum impression. I wasn't sure what that was. The new Yoda Chronicles to air May 4th on Disney XD. The new Lego Star Wars program. Now this is aired. This is 5 days ago. This is a 5-day-old thing. New Lego Star Wars program will be airing on Disney XD on May the 4th. The new Yoda Chronicles: Escape from the Jedi Temple looks set in the classic trilogy timeframe with Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon, as well as Lego Star Wars characters Jack 14. The new show was first hinted at several months back with the new toy in the Lego catalog. Never saw that, but
Yeah, I just saw this kid show me.
Oh, okay.
They got a little Jack in there.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
The program airs 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Pacific Time,
On May the 4th?
May the 4th. And yeah, and if you let's see,
So obviously those are non-canon though.
yeah. Well, I mean, if they're continuing with that very goofy,
Yes.
thing, meta kind of thing, where they break the fourth wall or whatever. It's pretty funny stuff. Like having Darth Maul in there. That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, there you go.
There you go.
And I think that May the 4th we're also getting, I think, a Rebels kind of teaser or something. I'm not sure, but May the 4th. I feel like May the 4th is going to be, May the 4th from here on out will be huge, like Star Wars, maybe releasing information. Like I was talking to my buddy Cody Geiler, and I won't get him on here actually talking about it because he's big. He's a gigantic Star Wars fan. Mm-hmm. He feels that we might get a casting announcement May the 4th.
I definitely think we'll get something.
Yeah.
That's definitely
I gotta get glued to my phone that day.
definitely something is going to come out Sunday, I think, for sure.
So because we're talking about maybe a title and Comic-Con, but maybe casting announcement this Sunday.
I don't think we'll get a title to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I think we'll definitely get something casting. Maybe even I still think he's got to release some kind of teaser poster.
Teaser poster.
One image of something. I don't care if it's just
Jedi or planet.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. I don't
Coruscant.
Put
With a big
friggin-
Star Story over it.
Yeah, put a lightsaber blade on it. I don't care. It's something that says Star Wars Episode 7 on
Even
there.
SW7.
Man, I can't wait. That's so anyway, I hope you enjoy taking this journey with it because we're gonna. Star Wars is never going away, so I don't know when this is gonna go away. We're gonna continue doing Inside the Force.
Yeah.
So if you got any questions or comments about this whole EU stuff, send it to us. info@insidetheforce.com, or you can tweet us. I'm DCottingham21. Casey's Kryptonian1138. Twitter, we're at Inside the Force. So is that all is that all the EU stuff?
Yeah, it's all the EU stuff, and that's most of the news. Like they've been spotting Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher in London lately. So just a further.
They're getting ready.
Yeah,
they're getting ready.
Pretty cool.
I think I actually saw. Did you see that picture? It's a picture of Hamill with the voice of Darth Maul from Episode 1.
Oh, I think I saw a picture with him. Him and somebody,
and he's got a beard.
Yeah, I saw the beard. I was thinking too.
Oh my god,
is Luke gonna have a beard, or is he
Yes.
just growing it to shave it right before he?
I think
films?
he's gonna have a beard.
Yeah, there
He's
you go.
gonna have a beard.
He looks good too.
Yes, that's gonna be so freaking awesome. Okay, trivia. Let's trivia.
Trivia.
Trivia, and then
I made sure to read some extra articles this time.
Oh, really?
Just in case of Chewbacca. Just in
here
case
we
you had a
go.
Chewbacca
So
question.
I'm just gonna randomly pick a page.
Yeah.
How about that? Okay.
For the episode 3 time.
Yeah, episode 3 time. Revenge of the Sith. Okay, so do you pick 1234 through 1252?
12:45.
1245. All right. 1245. Who played Commander Cody
Ooh.
in Revenge of the Sith?
Oh, come on.
Who played Commander Cody
Yeah.
in Revenge of the Sith?
Okay, go for it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Tamar Morrison.
Yeah, that's B. Do we want to do another different one? Do we want to count that one, or I guess we got to count that.
Let's
one.
make that EU and not count it. Different one. Let's go 2 up.
2 up.
12,
Yeah, that was too easy.
12:47.
Here, I'll just put it in there to make sure we know it was right. So
I didn't even look at the answers.
yeah, there we go. That's B. 247.
Yeah.
Okay, 247. What character did Sandy Finlay
Okay, here we go.
portray in Revenge of the Sith?
Here we go. I have no idea.
1247.
Sandy Finlay. Now, it's going to be a trick question. It's a guy, not a girl.
So, what character did Sandy with an I?
Okay, so it might be, it's a girl.
Sandi.
So it might be a girl.
Sandy Finlay portray in Revenge of the Sith. C, or why did I say C? A, Chi Ikwe.
Okay.
B, Sly Moore. C, Mon Mothma. Or D, Pooja Nabri.
Pooja. Well, Pooja. See, here you go. Guessing game. Here we go. Can I guess well? Should I just pick
I'm
safe
pretty
bet?
sure that it's not Mon Mothma.
I'm going to do a safe bet here.
I'm pretty sure it's not Mon Mothma.
What did I say? 12:47. So, Sandy Finlay. Chi Ikwe, Sly Moore, Mon Mothma. Pooja Nabiri. Oh, I'm going to go with Pooja. It's a cool name.
It's kind of what I was leaning towards.
Cool name, Pooja.
That's really what I was
I'll
leaning
go
towards.
with it then.
Because I think
hold hands
I have a
jumping together.
vision in my head
I think I know who it is.
of who she is.
I think I
don't
do.
know if she's played by Sandy, but
I feel
all
like I
right,
know
let's
who it is.
go.
Pooja?
Let's go Pooja.
D.
D.
Pooja. Oh, fuck. Is
It
it
was
Mama?
No, it was B. Sly Moore.
Oh. I was thinking Pooja was that Jedi healer apprentice or Jedi healer.
See,
That's
I
what I
was
was
thinking
thinking
Pooja was one of the alliance people in the group of Mon Mothma.
Gotcha.
Like I was thinking that was one
Pooja
of them.
Naberi.
But it's not her. But who? Yeah,
I
you're
don't
looking
know
her up
who
though.
it is. It's a kid, I think. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Sly who? What's
Moore. Moore. SLY.
Sly Moore. Oh, yeah. That
Who's
chick.
that? Oh,
The
she was the
bureaucrat.
Yeah,
One of the bureaucrats.
Yeah, okay.
The freaky-eyed baldy.
Yeah, she's up there with the chancellor.
Yeah.
In the Senate. Oh, okay. Didn't
Good
know.
question.
So the character is Sly Moore.
Sly
right?
Moore.
Okay. Well, now we know who that is
Sandy.
because she's canon.
She's canon.
Sly Moore is canon. Oh man,
That's all right.
great stuff, exciting stuff going on in the Star Wars universe right now.
Yeah.
Very, very much looking forward to this stuff. Again, I will be right there buying that book when it comes out.
Yep.
We're going to read that thing, review it, talk about it on here. And we got a lot to talk about coming the fall when this brand new television show finally comes on, Star Wars Rebels. We will be talking about every episode.
We're going to have
obviously.
jam-packed episodes.
Yes.
We are.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think, actually while we were talking, like the profiling part of our segment probably will be more, I'm thinking actually it may shift to more kind of like bullet points, like canonical bullet points in a sense, like born this day, did this, did that. Maybe tell a story or two if it's canon or possibly canon. I don't know. But a little of that stuff might be changing depending on.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. It may get to the point where we got so much to talk about, we can't really spend too much time.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
the point of this show, too, when we started it, was to build a podcast encyclopedia, basically, of characters and whatnot. And so
we'll still do that.
Yeah, so basically you can always say, I wonder if Inside the Force talked about these guys. And then if, we got, or I remember them talking about Mace Windu, look that up. And And that's granted, you might have to look at the descriptions because our titles sometimes our titles are very Star Wars-esque.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we're going to continue doing that kind of stuff for you guys. So we appreciate everybody listening, of course. InsideTheForce.com. You can check out and subscribe to us on iTunes, RSS feed. We're also on Stitcher Radio and TuneIn Radio. Get those apps on your Android or iPhone devices, or your iPads, all that stuff. You can get us easily. Do us a favor if you really do enjoy the show and you really kind of like what we're doing. We really want to get more people listening. We need more comments on iTunes if you can, or even Stitcher if you're listening to Stitcher. I know there's some people listening to us Stitcher. Just go in there if you can. Give us a little rating if you like us. If you don't,
say it.
That's fine too. Whatever.
We need the publicity.
Yeah, but we'd like to move up a little bit on the iTunes ranking so we can get more people listening.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for everybody that's been with us. Tell your friends about us. So,
quick question: are you going to put a Legends banner on Unknown Discovery? Rise of the Troopers?
That's true.
It's not canon.
That stuff's canon, man. No, it is Legends. That is Legend. Well, once we do the third movie, and we release the Trooper trilogy, it'll be Legends banner. We will put the Legends banner.
Okay.
Dang, yeah. So everything we're doing is Legends now. All right, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. One day maybe we'll do some canon stuff.
Oh my gosh!
All right, guys, we appreciate everybody, and hope everybody has a very happy Star Wars Day on May the 4th. Which is this Sunday. And check us out next week. We'll be talking a lot about that. Because Star Wars Weekends is this weekend, I think, right? Star Wars Weekends kicks off this weekend down in Disney. If you go in there, have a good time. Wish we were there. For Casey Cooley.
Goodbye, Tarful. Goodbye, Chewbacca. Miss you. I will.
Whatever. Because I can't do a Chewbacca impression.
No.
That's more like Yoda. Oh well. Corey can actually do a decent Chewbacca.
Can he?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Whatever.
That sounds like Yoda.
Yeah. That's my Yoda impression doing an impression of Chewbacca. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. I'm David Cottingham. Have a great May the 4th, and may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.